I don't know why I like it. I just always have.
This is a conscious effort on our part to open the creative envelope, so to speak, in order to entertain you in a more contemporary manner. Even though we call ourselves sports entertainment because of the athleticism involved, the key word in that phrase is entertainment.
Vince McMahon has lost his mind. The man doesn't have it anymore.
We in the WWF think that you, the audience, are quite frankly tired of having your intelligence insulted.
Have you watched the television show lately?
We also think that you're tired of the same old simplistic theory of good guys versus bad guys. Therefore, we've embarked upon a far more innovative and contemporary creative campaign that is far more invigorating and extemporaneous than ever before.
Because while Doink the Clown had a green hair and a rubber nose, Stone Cold Steve Austin was drinking his first beer in ECW, damn you. Oh, we got attitude. You got nothing, man.
As the times have changed, so have we.
First time around, we were amazing. We didn't waste a second, but now we are back for the very third time. This is Beyond the Beermat, and much like the WWE, we only seem to care about wrestling in general during that magical period between the Royal Rumble and WrestleMania, because if you go back and look at the dates where we've recorded a episode, those are the only times where these come out. So, you have 3 months to enjoy us while you can. My name is Stuart Quigley. That gloriously full of knowledge and acceptance of what's about to happen laugh was the laugh of Mr. Billy Luff.
Hello.
And we're going to get into, it's a very easy one this time around, because what we're going to do is we're going to try and do consistency, creativity, amazingness, lots of beers, everything that you normally expect from us, but just maybe like one more podcast, I don't know.
Maybe two.
Much like WWE, we'll figure it out as we go.
Yeah,
and then,
pretty much.
And then pretend that that was the plan all along.
Exactly. It'll all work out for the best.
Indeed. So, with this in mind, what we're going to do for this sort of comeback, as it were, is take it easy, not just on you listeners, because believe me, we're coming with a cold hard facts and a cold hard opinions, and I've got some cold hard beers right in front of me. But in terms of what you think about when we're into this sort of period in time for wrestling, it is the Royal Rumble season. Genuinely speaking, I've got to be perfectly honest with you, I've not really been excited about wrestling for a while, but when you get into this time of year, it is when the wheels start going, and it's when you start to get a little bit like, hey, this time it'll be different.
This is all like a 3-month build-up to the big event at the end, that marathon. We have to stay awake until 6 in the morning to defeat WrestleMania.
So while we've got a lot to contend with, not just now but in the future, as I said, very simple episode. We think about the Royal Rumble, think about one very simple thing. It's all about the numbers. It's all about what's going to take to get 29 men over the top rope. And that 5-minute package that you get before every Royal Rumble, where it's like, oh, it used to be the Warlord, and now it's Santino Marella.
I wasn't ready.
Well, to be fair, I'm pretty sure Santino Marella actually lasted longer, but they retconned it like they always do.
I don't know. He got thrown over pretty quick.
Didn't they botch it?
No, he knocked him out fairly rapidly, to be fair.
Okay, yeah.
I think he did beat the Warlord. The Warlord looked harder, though, didn't they?
Definitely, but also
he had a little stick with a W on it to indicate Warlord. And
the fact that he was going to win, and that was not the indication of what he was going to do.
Didn't Hogan get rid of him?
Yes.
No, he was never going to win then, was
it? Yeah.
Brother.
I'd like to point out, wasn't Taz's elimination faster?
Was
way
it?
Back. I'm not sure if he timed it bell to bell, but there was a Rumble where he ran to the top and then got eliminated.
Do you remember Jerry Lawler and Bret Hart years ago? Jerry Lawler spent he was on commentary, he spent about 30 seconds taking his hat off, taking his crown off and taking his coat off. And he walked in the ring, Bret Hart gave him one uppercut and threw him over.
Yeah?
Surely that would have counted as 2 seconds as well.
So what I've got in front of us is not just the standard generic package of WWE. Oh, it's Roman Reigns has been the runner-up 3 times. Oh my God, number 27 is a lucky number. I'm going to get to that in a second, by the way. That is actually slightly... it's not a myth, because it is...
It's the most successful.
Even after I attack it, it's still the most successful. So it's not as important as it should be. But in terms of the standard fare, do you have any favourite stats? Do you have any favourite numbers that when it comes to the Royal Rumble that you're a big fan of?
This is not going to be everyone's, but... Well, my favourite Rumble was actually, was it 92, Ric Flair?
Yeah.
That's my favourite number, number 3, because he was like the Iron Man. He was the original Iron Man in the Rumble, and he lasted. And I didn't really like Hogan at that point. I was a mark even back then.
Yeah.
So number 3 is my favourite number. We're nearly 30 years on. That's got no significance, isn't it?
It's funny you should mention that one, actually, because a lot of people have mentioned the fact that, and one of the reasons why we're doing this particular podcast as a topic, just for our sort of re-debut, as it were. I wouldn't even call it that, to be fair. It's more like when a well-known wrestler from Hollywood, potentially by the name of someone that rhymes with Wayne, comes back and it's to great reception. So that's what we are. We pop in for a couple of months, then pop out again. The idea that Brock Lesnar might be doing that this time around, something similar at least.
I read something a couple of days ago. Wouldn't it be great if the men's Royal Rumble opened the event, Brock Lesnar turned up at number 1, got knocked out straight away, took his money and ran back to Vegas?
I think that's a very big possibility. I really do.
Reckon?
I think he...
Well, that's the only reason. Did that match open Mania?
Yes.
That was the only reason it opened Mania.
I think the possibilities are, well, they are endless, effectively. But one of two things will happen. If he makes it past number 5, he'll almost certainly make the final 4. I think he goes out early, or he's part of the mix, as it were.
What do you think the point? He's world champion. Do you think he's actually going to win, and they're going to have this big showdown, champion versus champion, at WrestleMania?
It's an interesting question, actually, because I'm not sure they know.
Well, it's because someone's in charge of $1 billion company.
No, it's just, there are, and this is the thing about the Royal Rumble that helps WWE in a certain sense, and we've gone through a period of Rumbles recently where it's provided us more questions than answers. But realistically speaking, the Rumble can be used, if you're using it intelligently, to sort of sort everything out between now and Mania. And with Brock Lesnar specifically, there's a lot of questions to be like, oh, who should face him? Should it be, I don't know, Nate Diaz or fucking someone from UFC, Tyson Fury? Maybe we could get Wayne Gretzky in there. I don't know what Craig Bellamy's doing these days. We could have a good hardcore match.
Craig Bellamy's playing darts, isn't it?
I did see, by the way, who was it? Luca Toni was playing darts with that Fallon Sherrock the other week, so yeah.
Really? Who was?
Classic. No, it was doubles. It was her and him.
Okay.
I think they
Next
lost.
tag match.
Yeah, but it's WrestleMania, we're all over. But one of two things is likely. Again, it's the same with everything. Like, you think to yourself all the possibilities in the world, but generally speaking, it always falls down into just a few subcategories, whereby Brock Lesnar either gets eliminated by someone that you don't expect him to get eliminated by, and that's who he's going to face at WrestleMania.
Yes.
Or he goes through and he's going to fight someone that is not in the Rumble at all. And I think the way we find out is if the title's on the line.
I've read that the title is not going to be on the line.
If that's the case, then I suspect he goes out early, and I suspect that whoever knocks him out, he'll fight at the Rumble.
The Royal Rumble is the perfect opportunity to start a feud.
Yeah.
So even though they've been feuding all year, it's not really been significant, is it? We've got to lead towards the so-called end of the story.
See, I think that used to be the case. I'm not sure it is anymore because
Backlash or whatever it's called nowadays is the end of the story.
Well, no, you start it at WrestleMania and then you just carry it on for 6 months until we get into the cycle of Survivor Series, and then we just start again as if no one imagined.
Exactly.
As far as Brock Lesnar's concerned, so long as it's not Roman Reigns or Seth Rollins, I'm not asked.
Oh, come on. You've enjoyed Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar for the past 6 years, haven't you?
When we get into the numbers later on, we could get into that because there's certain things there that definitely pop up. We said this before we started the podcast, actually. It's a little insight backstage, little guerrilla position secrets. Vince McMahon will not let you have these, which is that because this, and again, spoiler alert, whole thing is scripted and storylined. What? It's not like,
Is it?
It's good acting.
You have ruined my entire 33-year existence.
Indeed. Not just for this comment, just in general. It's not a roulette table. It's not random. So the numbers do mean something because they're deciding where they go. And I do think maybe I'm putting a little too much into this, which, again, I do that on a roulette table as well. But if you're going to go with the whole, make something important, like number 1, you can never win from number 1, so then the first person that wins from number 1, it's a big deal. Number 30, that's the biggest advantage of them all. And how long did it fucking take for someone to win from number 30?
A very long time, didn't it?
Yeah, and so on and so forth. And you can get this idea of certain storylines that... It's funny, actually, because I think, in general, they've taken a bit of an emphasis off the numbers. Do you remember when you had backstage segments of people drawing?
That was entertaining, though.
Eddie Guerrero stealing the numbers.
Yeah, that was entertaining.
Yeah.
I don't know why they stopped that, because that was funny.
Yeah. Also, as well, like matches between the December pay-per-view, whichever it was at the time, and the Royal Rumble itself, where you could be like, okay, whoever loses is number 30 or whatever. And they do this from time to time, but I think they could lean into that a little bit more.
Yeah, give it some emphasis, didn't it? 'Cause if you're fighting for the position number 1, you're fighting for position number 30.
Or alternatively, fighting to avoid number 1.
And avoid number 1. Yeah, it gives something. The whole point of wrestling is you're trying to obtain a championship or trying to achieve a goal. That's half of the problem, I think, now. They're just fighting for the sake of fighting. But if you introduced a situation where they had to avoid number 1, and so on, they could, if they really wanted to, they could come up with a league system, couldn't they?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Over a few months. Because let's face it, there's nothing to do between Survivor Series and the Royal Rumble.
No.
They might as well come up with something to give them a 2-month route.
I mean, realistically speaking, and again, whenever you do this, this is a dangerous avenue to go down. In non-storyline terms, no one should come out and go, I want to be number 1. No one.
No, unless they're Brock Lesnar and they think they can run through the whole roster.
See, do you know what? I don't mind that, because Brock Lesnar could run through the whole roster.
Yeah.
My problem is with someone like Dolph Ziggler's like, I'll go for number 1 and I'll entertain the whole crowd and this and that. And then I'm just like, I kind of get it. No, I get it from an arrogance perspective. But in terms of logistically, Brock Lesnar can do it, you can't.
Yeah,
and there have been so many people in the last 10 years that have been like, I'll just run the gauntlet. Yeah. And let's be perfectly honest with you, the fact that, what's it been running since 88, the fact that we've had 4 winners that have been 1 and 2, and a 5th winner that's been number 3. So you're looking at quick maths in my head, just under somewhere around about 20% of the winners of the Royal Rumble have come from 1, 2 and 3.
Quite lucky, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a significant proportion. And what that does come down to is how you tell the story. It's about strategy, it's about athleticism, and it's about sort of someone's been in for so long, can they have the stamina to do it? Do they have the ability to sort of like, I wouldn't say hide like Road Dogg on the bottom rope.
That was amazing. Hold on to the rope like a snake.
Yeah, it's a memorable thing for me. So you can tell your story about how someone goes from 1 or 2 down to like the later stages of the match. Let's be perfectly honest as well. The last few Rumbles, and maybe I'm slightly exaggerating here, have been underwhelming.
I thought last year's was alright, to be fair. I thought last year's was the first one that was booked well, and God knows how long. Well, we knew Batista was going to win in 2014, didn't we? We knew Roman Reigns was going to win. We guessed that Triple H was going to win. Nakamura won, though. What the?
Yeah, exactly. That win is only going to look worse and worse as time goes on, I think. I should point out, by the way, that when we're doing these numbers and any time we mention anything, there are a couple of things that need to be pointed out, which is that there's only been 2 women's Royal Rumbles, so we're ignoring the stats on that because there's not enough numbers to go on. And any Royal Rumbles outside of the actual Royal Rumble pay-per-view, not on that.
So we're ignoring the super duper blood money Royal Rumble?
Yes.
Okay.
And also the Royal Rumble where there were 40, I think it's 40 people in it, the one that Del Rio won.
Yeah.
Because that skews everything
slightly. Yeah, it does
slightly.
skew everything.
So
why did they do that?
They were in that really weird period of like, oh, we need to have the biggest thing of all time. I'm actually surprised they've not done a 50. But the problem you've got...
It was inside.
No, yeah, but like this is exactly what I'm saying. Like, in terms of a Royal Rumble match, right, 30 people sounds like a lot, and it is. But when you watch the Royal Rumbles now, and I gather, right, if you watch a Royal Rumble from the 80s and the early 90s, you'll have the same problems, which is like, you don't get solid superstars all the way through. We've had... No. And I'll get to this in a second. Actually, no, do you know what?
You can say this about the 90s, though, because...
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
They hired him, like, AAA wrestlers, didn't they?
Yeah. Do you know what? Yeah, like I was going to save it, but we'll do it now. There is a run of Royal Rumbles where not only is the winner sort of a big deal, the Final Four, which is the second part behind that, because if your winner is sort of maybe not necessarily the most popular choice, it sort of depends on the circumstances around it as well. Yeah. The antithesis of this would be Roman Reigns won, and it was like Kane, Big Show, and someone else.
It was...
Genuinely depressing.
That was genuine. The crowd were booing. It was Ambrose, Reigns, Big Show, and Kane left, wasn't it? And I think Kane and Big Show didn't they literally knock Ambrose out and physically pick him up without any resistance and dump him like a dead fox over the top rope?
Oh man, It was painful.
That was horrible to watch.
Yes.
The crowd were booing that well before that happened.
Oh, yeah, no, but, like, the Final Four does kind of... It's not the same with a film or with anything. You end makes up for potentially a terrible precursor or will make something that was distinctly average seem a lot better.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Like, let's put it this way. For example, I don't remember massively the 2008 Royal Rumble from start to finish. What I do remember is John Cena,
Yes.
Triple H, Batista as well at third.
Is this when John Cena ripped his...
Yes, he's only come
pectoral?
back.
Yes, that crowd reaction, considering it was Madison Square Garden, who are historically shit on John Cena, the reaction he got was amazing. And then after 35 seconds, the crowd went, hang on a minute, we must hate that guy, and booed him again. That was brilliant.
I should point out, by the way, the one that rounds up that Final Four is Kane. But in terms of like other ones, 2005, you've got the one, and I've set this up very specifically, Batista, John Cena, Edge and Rey Mysterio as your Final Four.
Okay.
That was the one where Vince McMahon blew out his quad because they fucked up the ending.
Oh, yes. That was unfortunate, Kevin Nash, wasn't it?
Indeed.
2010 Rumble. Look at the last four there. Edge, Cena, Batista, Shawn Michaels.
That was the running up the hill Royal Rumble.
I didn't realise he was the fourth man standing.
Left, yeah.
Fourth man left.
I think that's the last Royal Rumble that
Had a
actually had a
story.
story.
That was brilliant. Do you remember how that Rumble opened? It opened with Dolph Ziggler and Evan Bourne. It was awful. The crowd, honestly, the crowd just went. Did you expect this big superstar? And the crowd went, ugh. And then Punk came out and did his "I'm better than you" speech, didn't he?
Yeah.
That was brilliant. And they had the story with the Shawn Michaels thing. And Batista got rid of him, didn't they?
I'm not sure exactly the circumstances.
Yeah. I think Shawn Michaels super kicked someone over the ropes, didn't he?
Yeah.
Well, he was outside the ropes, and Batista sort of slapped his hand.
But the thing I'll point out about this Royal Rumble was this is a very special Royal Rumble, and not just for the fact that you were there.
I was there.
When I was doing the numbers for this, right, by the way, I was really pissed off about this, right? This is the first Royal Rumble in history where the runner-up was in the teens.
I did not know that.
The runner-ups, generally speaking, we talked about getting the numbers in. The runner-ups for the first 5 Royal Rumbles were 29, 30, 29, 29 and 30. Very Vince McMahon style booking. And it was always you'd get someone that had come in early or someone that had come in late. And for anyone that's prepared to write in and say, actually, in the 1994 Royal Rumble, Shawn Michaels was number 18. Yeah, but that was the one where Hart and Luger went out at the same time, so I'm not counting him as second. So 2010 is the first time we get to someone in the teens. John Cena at number 19, finishing second. Funny enough, and this is what I said to you before about how you can sort of pick the pattern, as it were.
Yeah.
Since that, it's happened 4 times in 6 years.
So they've changed their stance on things.
Yes.
Look who's on there. Roman Reigns. Actually,
They did almost sort of break the mould for him in that sense.
they did, but he's been the golden boy, hasn't he? He's got to be something different. And I don't know what's happened recently, but I know that they need to push everything on Fox because they're paying them so much money, but it's sort of like the foot's been taken off the gas.
One of the reasons why I heard that was the case is so that if he should win the Royal Rumble,
Yeah.
no one would boo it with the same sort of violent protests that they have before.
Well, yeah. And no one's really, no offence, I'm not happy this happened or anything like that, but since he come back from his illness, no one's really booed him, have they? Everyone's been cheering him, he's been family friendly.
The Royal Rumble does seem to be his sort of kryptonite pay-per-view, though.
Where is, the Royal Rumble's not in a Marktown this year, is it? It's in Houston.
I would say, though, and this is where I think it's very interesting what number Roman Reigns draws, because we talked about how Brock Lesnar could potentially get eliminated early. I don't know who the fuck's going to be number 2. It'll probably be someone like a comedy character just to sort of set it up for a second.
So I look scared for 2 minutes and then just...
Yeah. Brock Lesnar might even just absolutely annihilate the guy, just like 5 suplexes, just so if we're going to see him for 5 minutes, might as well get some money out of it.
Yeah.
And then Roman Reigns at number 3.
Yeah. I think someone... that's normally the pattern they set, isn't it? Like going back to that 2010 one, Punk ran through about 6-7 people, and then who came out to stop him? Triple H. And that was the end of that. That's generally the pattern, isn't it? Austin, I can't remember what year it was, Austin 95, was it? 95, 96?
Is that when he's second?
He won it, didn't he? He's the one who cheated to win. He was eliminating everyone, and then Bret Hart came out and stopped him, and then that's the way it goes.
Just to point out, by the way, the third to last entrance, so you've got Bret Hart and Steve Austin as your number 1 and 2.
Yeah.
I'll even extend this slightly further. Number 3 and number 4 left, so your final 4 were Fake Diesel, who we know that was, and The Undertaker.
Really?
So basically, Isaac Yankum was setting it up all along. That is where the Kane Undertaker feud started, and I will not hear anything otherwise. In terms of then, just to absolutely sort of hammer this home, there have been 12 numbers that have never won a Royal Rumble.
Okay.
Right? Now, it's an interesting bet actually, because it's almost even money. Would you bet on one of those numbers winning it this year?
I would say no. I would say it's going to be Brock Lesnar at number 1, or it's going to be someone towards the end.
That generally tends to be what they do, because I said it was 12.
Is that because they're fresh and winning to fight?
Well, that seems to be the story that they continually keep telling, because, as I said, it wasn't until 2010 where you get a runner-up in the teens. In fact, of the numbers that haven't won, 11, 12, 15, 16, 17 and 20 haven't won.
Okay.
So they did do that thing whereby 30 was like a unlucky number that no one would ever win it by. But they've sort of corrected that course by the fact that 2007, 2008 and 2016, it's actually second in terms of the most winning number. But this gets me back to something I mentioned earlier on the podcast, which was, 27 is the most lucky number of all.
Yes.
Right?
4 winners.
Yeah, 4 winners, most anyone's ever won. The years in which 27 has won are 1989, 1993, 1994 and 2001. 2001, which was 19 years ago now at this Rumble,
Yes.
is the last time someone at 27 won the Rumble. That was The Rock against the Big Show.
Yes. Is that when The Rock actually lost?
Yes.
Cheat.
So if you take away that...
Big Show would have had all the Hollywood accolades.
Indeed. Not only would Big Show have had all the Hollywood accolades, 26 doesn't actually have a Royal Rumble winner. 26 would have a Royal Rumble winner.
So Rock is a fraud, and
He's screwed up the numbers completely.
yes, this spreadsheet would be 1 cell different if it weren't for that.
Indeed. Well, it'll be 3 styles different, because you've got, I mentioned 30, which they corrected the course of.
Yeah.
27 obviously being the big hits, which they haven't played that card in a while. It'd be interesting to see if they do play that card this time around, because going back to one of the points that we said earlier, you said about like a 40-man, a 50-man Rumble, and you said it happens in the 90s as well. It's actually quite hard to stack a 30-man match.
Pat Patterson had put that for years, hadn't he? The Road Dogg took over, and he got absolutely shit up for it. That is a hard job. I'm sorry, to organise a Rumble, set up spots.
See, the job itself, I'm sympathetic to, but okay with.
Set the order's easy. That's the easy bit.
Oh, I know. I think the order's the hard part. We're looking at this now with, we've already said, it's not a random chance Royal Rumble. So we're looking at Brock Lesnar at 1. Somewhere between 2 and 5, you'll have another main eventer.
Yeah, the will be just to stem the flow. I think we're right. I think someone
you-
can stem the flow at 6 or 7 or something.
Here's a question for you, or is this shitting the bed too early? Number 2, lights go off and it's The Fiend.
No. I see what you're saying, but there's no...
No, I'm just saying champion and champion.
They're not going to play that.
So back to what we said before, you'll get someone of credible stature between 2 and 5. I would suspect that might be Roman Reigns.
Possibly. I think they're going to leave Roman Reigns until later on. I think it'll be someone credible, not someone that can... Someone like...
It'll be Reigns or Rollins. It'll be someone that's beat Brock
It
Lesnar.
needs to be a face, doesn't it? So it can't be Rollins anymore. It has to be a face to stop Lesnar.
To be honest with you, I
Otherwise,
actually
you send
think,
out someone like Drew McIntyre, it doesn't.
I think they could get away with Rollins as things stand, because Brock Lesnar's... He's not a massive heel, so I think...
Lesnar?
Yeah.
The whole crowd shit at him every time he comes out. That's heel.
I guarantee you, if Rollins comes out, the crowd will immediately turn to watch Lesnar beat Rollins up.
Well, I suppose that's true as well.
So, yeah.
Fickle bastards.
Wrestling fans, fickle, surely not. This begs the other question, actually, which I was going to ask you. How many legitimate pop guys do we have? Because what happened in latter Royal Rumbles is that they, which is really weird, actually, for the WWE, they don't lean on the old guy as much anymore. They don't lean on the surprise.
No, they don't, because they've got the NXT guys, haven't they?
That's not a pop. That's not a surprise. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but it's a pop for the marks, isn't it? You don't get... Like, everyone goes to WrestleMania nowadays, so what's everyone else going to go to now? The Royal Rumble. I was there well ahead of everyone else, by the way. Everyone goes to the Royal Rumble or SummerSlam and whatnot. And so who turns up? They're running a takeover show, the Toyotas or whatever it's called now. It's not called that anymore. And they'll be full of marks, the same marks that'll be going to the Rumble the next night.
I know, but I just feel like it's different.
When Tommaso Ciampa comes out, I'll be, whee! He is solid.
No, yeah, but it's really weird,
actually. On his neck than my calf, man.
You nearly made me choke then. Right. It is strange in the sense that, like, my normal stance would be, I would like to see the young guys get a chance against the current roster rather than someone coming in for a paycheck. Yes. But at the Royal Rumble, Kind of want to hear some music from the 90s.
Yeah, but let's put it this way, right? Me and you are sort of dedicated wrestling fans, would you say, yeah?
Well, we do have a podcast.
Our friend who's El Magician turns up once a year to watch the Royal Rumble, does he not?
Yeah.
What happened when Jeff Jarrett came out the other year?
Didn't he pop?
He popped and I didn't.
I popped though, so where'd you go with that?
Oh, man, really?
All I'm saying is there's been some speculation about Booker T potentially coming out. I'm going to pop more when I hear his music. Don't want to hear any of that generic NXT
I
music,
agree with
which
that.
I cannot decipher between.
I agree with that, actually. I'd like to see Booker T back. Isn't there a thing? Maybe this is just a rumour I've read on the internet, but I've read that the Revival might be fighting Harlem Heat.
I have seen that elsewhere, yes.
That would be an amazing match.
Speaking of which, and this is funny given what we alluded to earlier, the Royal Rumble you were at, I've heard on RoyalRumbleRumours.com that Edge might be coming up.
I have heard that. Have you seen him on Twitter? He looks in better shape now than when he wrestled. He looks ripped.
You never say never in wrestling, but Edge was the one guy where I always thought, no. If Daniel Bryan could come back though.
Exactly, it's been clear. Science can do a lot now. We've moved on from the Stone Cold Nick. Well, even Stone Cold said he could have one more match, yeah?
So basically, we're booking the Royal Rumble. It's going to be Brock Lesnar, Stone Cold, Hulk
Hogan.
Hogan, Edge. Then, fuck it, let's get
I'll tell
Coco
you what,
Beware out.
it's like a who's who of winners here, isn't it? Oh,
Yes.
I tell you, Michael's out already.
Yeah, why not? No, Michaels only comes out for the Super Saudi Blood Money.
Okay, replace him with Repo Man then.
I'll be fine with that, just to hear the music.
Repo
As I
Man.
said, the music is what gets you the pop. Right, okay then. So back to our sort of structure, as it were. Going back to the numbers, because we said we'd make it easy on ourselves, and let's be perfectly honest, we'll wrap this up so we can go to the bar and start fucking getting ready for the Royal Rumble in a truest sense, which is having one bar, 30 beers.
Exactly.
Every 2 minutes.
Every 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And if you're not standing at the end, you're right.
I mean, if you did that with shots, even that would be bad, but I still want to do it.
I think you'd be dead.
In terms of like recent years then, because that's all we can go by, as I said, in 89 to pretty much all the way, you went from, it's interesting actually when you look at not only the people that win it, but how they won it. It was pretty much the same guys. I mean, obviously you've got Big John Studd at the start of it, and he won the first one.
Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
Yeah.
Oh!
They're sort of slight anomalies because obviously the Royal Rumble wasn't as prestigious at the time. But after that, it's like a fucking who's who of 90s wrestlers.
It is.
And generally speaking, it goes from guys either at number 1, 2, and guys at like 30, 29. They will be like the final boss for like Hogan to get rid of or whatever.
Yeah.
And then obviously in the modern era, with quote unquote smarter fans, you get the last 3 runners-up have been 30, 28, 29. I do wonder whether we might actually get a 30 winner this year or someone late.
It looks like they're going that way, doesn't it?
Generally speaking, whatever they've done before, they're prepared to swerve it for the sake of swerving it.
If you look at it up until 2011, the star of the show's won the Rumble, haven't they? Edge, Orton, Cena, Taker, Mysterio, Batista, Beep, won it in 2004. 2000, Rock, Triple H. They were already established stars. They didn't need to win the Rumble to get over. And it's since 2010, Del Rio, Sheamus, all right, Cena and Batista are in there, Reigns. And then, there's a couple in out and Triple H. Nakamura. It's like they've won it to sort of elevate them.
Yeah.
I think that should be to make your main event, not to elevate someone to the main event. That's not. If you're going to make a megastar out of them, like they did with John Cena, that's fine. Roman Reigns that did the same, that's fine. But
I don't
Shinsuke
think they did, though.
Nakamura,
Not with Roman Reigns, because they always
I think it
fucking
did. I think it
bottled
did.
pulling the trigger at WrestleMania. They put him in bad positions.
Well, I didn't think the go home, I'm going to try and pull the title off the other person.
Yeah.
Help the situation, did it?
Help Rollins.
Good point.
Ironically enough, all that made Rollins far more than it made Roman Reigns, and they're both
That
about
made
on
Rollins,
the
that did make
same
Rollins,
plane.
Yeah,
right now.
yeah. Okay.
I know what you're saying, but the problem you've got is there's no obvious sort of dream scenario, dream match. There would always be, and I mean might be nostalgia and naivety talking. You look at it and you go, Austin and Rock aren't fighting. What's the pathway for them? Oh, Rock can win the Rumble. Austin's got the title. Then we can get there.
Yeah.
There's no one I really want to see fight each other. Like, you're talking about Brock Lesnar.
I wanted to see Rollins fight Brock Lesnar last year. And I enjoyed the match because it was a kick-ass 5-10 minute match. It was what it was. I think the right person won.
It was great. And it worked because of how they used it and when they used it. And also as well, can I just point out, since the Daniel Bryan era, Daniel Bryan actually is one of my favourite wrestlers of all time, but it might have ruined the Royal Rumble. Because you're always looking at it with like 3 or 4 different eyes now.
I think that's the crowd that ruined that more than anything, because...
No. Daniel Bryan didn't ruin it. I'm not putting the blame on him, but I think Royal Rumble's past and now present, it's a very different vibe.
See what happens when you give people a little bit of power. See what happens.
That's why Vince should have gone with his plan of fucking Batista versus Orton and let him stink the fucking house out.
That would have been amazing, wouldn't it? 100,000 people booing.
I mean, that's a podcast for another day, the whole idea of like what the fans expect versus what WWE is prepared to give us. And by the way, I'd like to point out, WWE more than fucking at fault for this, because they're prepared to give you the middle finger. So if you as a company are prepared to give the middle finger to the people that are watching, then don't be surprised if you get it back.
Yeah, of course.
And the Royal Rumble is the perfect example of this. The only problem we've got, really, unfortunately for us, they always bring it back together. No matter how bad the problem is at the Rumble, they always fix it between then and Mania. Or maybe we're just too fucking invested.
Again, if we just go back to the Daniel Bryan thing, I don't think they ever planned.
No, 100%. No.
Sorry.
In fact, hasn't that thing been leaked recently where it was CM Punk had a copy of the sheet for WrestleMania? And it was him and Triple H. Orton and Batista was the main event, and Daniel Bryan was meant to fight Sheamus.
I have read that in the past.
That was an actual, like,
I haven't
sheet.
seen the sheet, but I can do a good Photoshop as well, though.
CM Punk is always on the Photoshop.
CM Punk is a very angry man.
He could also be, not just on this podcast, he could be at the Royal Rumble.
He could be at the Rumble.
That's the kind of guy I want to... That's the kind of pop I'm looking for. I'm not expecting it.
Are you looking for the AJ Styles pop? That was the last big pop.
Cameraman fucking ruined that.
But they wanted to keep it off until the screen said AJ Styles, didn't they?
Speaking of which, actually, it's funny we've gone through this entire podcast and we're about to close it now. Ronda Rousey in the Women's Royal Rumble is going to be the exact pop I'm looking for out of the Men's Rumble.
She's not coming back.
I think there is a chance, I'm not saying she will, I think there's a chance she's in the Women's Royal Rumble, and the combination of her music and her star power is what I'm looking for in the Men's Rumble. Maybe she won't go on to have any sort of major storyline at WrestleMania, although you would expect her to, but that would pop me.
If she comes back, she wins it. There's no way she.
I think okay, fine, yeah.
She doesn't win it.
I agree. Well, okay then. Just before we come to a close, we said we're all about the numbers. I need officially a prediction of what number, before you know who comes out, what number's going to win the Royal Rumble.
I'm going for a slick 17.
That'd be interesting actually, because 17's not won the Royal Rumble
Exactly,
before. We said this before. Oh yes, you're going in for a first timer. Drew McIntyre.
Yes. Santino Morella comes back.
I'll tell you what, if Drew McIntyre manages to get the win, or Santino Morella manages to get the win, that would be quite impressive. Right, I'm going to go, just because I'm sceptical about WWE, I'm going to go number 3.
3. Woo!
If it's actual Ric Flair, then we are all in trouble.
I'm not sure Ric Flair can walk to the ring in 120 seconds anymore.
That's why, because he takes so long to get to the ring, and then by the time he gets there, everyone else has knocked themselves out. It's clearly that's what's going to happen. This has been Beyond the Beermat. We have been absolutely solidly covering the Royal Rumble numbers. What you need to do is give us some numbers by giving us 5 stars on iTunes. You can listen to us on Spotify. You can catch us on thebeermat.co.uk. Follow us on facebook.com/thebeermat, twitter.com/thebeermat, instagram.com/thebeermat. We'll probably see you at some point between now and WrestleMania, but like Dwayne, it'll be on our terms.